Well, welcome back guys to another video. This is our last flight from Leh. We're going to depart Leh and follow on our journey, my journey. All together we're going to fly this journey that I did once when I was young, 18-year-old kid. Flying, we're going to take this route, I think it was from memory, I think we did this in one go, or we stayed the night somewhere, but anyway, we did this drive, this beautiful scenic drive from the tops of the Himalayas, weaving our way down the valley, basically heading south into Manali, which is over here. And as you'll see when we gradually do our descent down through the Himalayas, we'll start getting greener and greener and greener, and we'll also be going over another high modal pass. I think it's Keelang, or along here it's a very high modal pass, and we'll come down here and we'll jump over there's a little road here. As you can see, it zigzags over the saddle here and into Manali, which is over here somewhere, or Manali is up here. Where is Manali? No, I'm sure it's over there. It is there. So we'll come down into Manali and there's an airport there, so we'll land at that with the helicopter for this flight, and then later on we'll do, I believe it's this route that we did. Yeah, this is one, and it takes us through to Keelong, somewhere around here, I think. But anyway, yeah, we'll do this flight, and I'm back with this helicopter here. I just like it a lot. It's got the opening doors and everything else. Unfortunately, we got the zombie-looking people. She does not look impressed at all. Anyway, we will get going, eh? We'll get going this lovely helicopter that I really enjoy flying, and I think I've set the date to June, which is the height of July, which is the height of summer here in Ladakh. So we will slowly ease up on the throttle, the collective is what I should say. I do think the altitude is probably right at the limits of this helicopter, unlike the Bell. Maybe I should have stuck with the Bell, but anyway, we're getting our flight underway. What has been this has been quite a common theme, this view, for the last few videos. Going back to trying to master that arrival and departure into Leh, and then deciding to try both types of aircraft that operate out of that airport, which is 737s and the A320s. And then we've done our various flights, a couple in 2020, and the most now have been done with this great, amazing visual art that is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. I seriously just can't believe how much time and technology has progressed between when I first started flying Flight Simulator. But yeah, we'll just plod along, enjoy the stunning scenery that is the Indus Valley of Ladakh, which is, again, I think that the whole area is just part of the Jammu and Kashmir region. And I need to get better at my videos too. I should look to putting in like some sort of background music to drown out the mundane helicopter drone. But if you guys got good headphones, you could, I guess you could, while you're watching this, you could listen to your favourite music as we trundle along down this valley. And yeah, definitely am really enjoying flying this helicopter. It's definitely my favourite so far. The Bell, like, I really enjoyed flying the Bell just recently. As you saw, the landing was really good. I do find I have a lot more control over that than this, but it's just little things like this has the doors that open and close, whereas that doesn't, which is a bit of a shame really, that they haven't implemented the doors for that helicopter. But as I always say, it is what it is. I'm just going to increase the sim rate a bit and get this going, and I like to do that Airbus 225 helicopter. That was a really good aircraft that for that brief time it was working until it literally flipped out. I could see myself having great fun with that helicopter. It seems like, basically, it's like a helicopter, but not a helicopter, if you know what I mean. It has it has like autopilot and whatnot, so definitely lots of potential with that aircraft. And as I said it many times, and I'll say it again, I absolutely highly recommend getting up here if you love the mountains and love this sort of scenery and want to experience this for real. This is a really lovely part of India. You would not think that you're in India. It's, yeah, just as you sort of get the vibe, people are few and far between up here. It's very sparsely populated part of India, and the people are really lovely up here. Great food, especially if you love vegetarian food. India itself is a food paradise if you're into your vegetarian and vegan food. And if you want a good tip, I mean, you can eat lots of meat here in India, but if you want to avoid dally belly, sticking with vegetables is probably the best way to go, especially if you've got sensitive stomachs. we'll be getting close to our turn off, where we will basically climb up into the mountains over a pass, which I need to learn what they are again, because we will be going up there, but definitely a very high pass, in the top like highest passes in the world kind of thing. But yeah, like I said a few times now, there is just so much to... Is it here that I need to turn off? I think it is. And this is probably... We are now coming into what is probably regarded as the most difficult part of the, especially for truck drivers that do this road day in, day out. This part of the journey is probably the most dangerous with all of these high cliffs up here that are very unstable, with a very active region geographically speaking, with lots of erosion, landslide, avalanches, water weakened cliff sides. For all of the freezing cold weather, then the heat of the day, yeah, lots of like freezing and thawing going on up here. But yeah, this is two ways to get into Leh. That's the fly in, or fly in, fly out, or taking this road here. Flying in is a great way to just get it over and done with, but apparently doing this drive along here is the best way to acclimatise to the high altitude, because Leh is pretty much on the edge of like altitude sickness kind of thing, you know, like a lot of people do. Some come to altitude sickness being so high up, especially it is a very quick climb kind of thing. If you're taking the plane up here, so taking the road up is, especially for people that have a funny feeling that they're susceptible to altitude sickness, it's probably the safest way to do it. But flying in is quite a spectacular. Flying in, it's definitely something that, if you can handle it, you should consider flying up into Ladakh. I'd probably recommend it like that, then driving on out, just for that scenery that you get when you're landing. You still get the same scenery when you're, well, going from what I did when I took off in those flights, because we flew in and then we drove out. We took a bus out through here. And I might just pause it, folks, because I need to feed the cat. Alright, I'm just going to pause it. Alright, we'll get back into this. We'll see what happens here, because my cat really loves affection, so we'll just carry on a little bit more, see how it goes. And I don't know if how trim works on this helicopter. Someone said, is it this one that's automatic, or is it the other one? I do not know, man. Right, chuck on warp speed and speed it up just a bit more. can see these fields would be fields where they grow grains and hay and whatnot for their animals, and then they would also make that. I'm not too sure why those helicopters doing this. But yeah, they produce a lot of grains up here, which they then sell to the markets and whatnot. So they're primarily it's grains up here, hay. Of course, you've got your yaks too, which provide milk and butter. But yeah, it's just like what you see here is almost what you see in real life, just different shades of red, tan, yellow, greens, lots of greens, especially where it's in the spring when these fields are all nice and lush with new growth, and where these trees can grow. And then basically when the moment where you get outside of like any form of water table, then it's just desert like this. But you just definitely feel like you're on the roof of the world here. You got areas of road that are just like this, just open expanse with great views, and then you get bits where you feel like the mountains are just one movement away from swallowing you up as you're going through these very narrow, tight gorges. And as you gradually get further and further south, lower and lower, you'll start getting into the lush green, sort of like that lush green landscape you associate Nepal with. And here we are. I think this is one of these higher points of this road. You can see it's starting to snake its way up here, and we will be following that. Look how it just snakes its way up this little ridge up here as it goes over the saddle, which, as I said before, in real life these are very steep drop-offs on the side of the road. This looks like generic texturing, doesn't it? Which is a lot better than the very obvious generic texturing on the Flight Simulator 2020, which is really good how they sort of blended in like this. But yeah, we're gonna snake our way over this little saddle, and this is. Yeah, we're at like 16,000 feet already, so this definitely is one of those I think it's in the top 5 that these passes anyway. This is definitely one of the highest as well. I've said that about pretty much all of these passes I'm talking about, but this is definitely just right up there with the highest passes in the world, highest motorable roads in the world. And then from here it's basically still quite a few like little sidewinders, switchbacks, hairpins, whatever you like to call them, up and down various mountain passes, but this one is, I believe, the highest stretch of this road, of this highway that connects Leh to basically the rest of India, basically. Manali, then on from Manali, that's straight on down to Delhi. And I'm guessing this is the height of July summer, so this is when they took this satellite imagery, must obviously be in winter. Straight over there, and then it's the downward a leg into the, well, there's still quite a few more windy roads through the mountains, but that's pretty much the highest part of the road right there. And I don't know why this happens in this game, because I'm full throttle and it just wants to go up, so I'm not too sure if that's just... Oh, I've got no idea why it does that. Let's see where we are on this map. Definitely making our way down this road. I might go check out this lake. Which way is that in relation to where I'm pointing? So basically if we go straight ahead, we'll come across this little lake here, we'll just fly over there and then back around, and then still a wee way to go actually, so might have to do a pretend fuel stop somewhere too, just in case we get a bit low on fuel. And all throughout this journey, like, there's lots of little tents selling chai and egg omelets or dal and rice, which is the staple up here, lentils, lentil curry and rice, or like a cabbage stew, curry and rice. Just little roadside tents which cost you nothing more than like 50 cents New Zealand. Very, very inexpensive. Well, that was going off 2006, but I don't think there's much. I don't think inflation would have hit India that hard around here. Could be wrong. But in relative terms to what you pay elsewhere, I can imagine it's still very, very cheap. And we will definitely go check out this lake, which is straight ahead. Might be able to do like a little loop around and then back around again. That looks like... that there must be... it must be that there's represented through that terrain there, so we'll basically go around this mountain here, this little hill, and then connect back up to the main road, and yeah, we'll see what this little lake looks like, eh? Just like I thought that was, that's the the train flowing around this, that line there is, yeah, the train following around the base of this little hill here, over this lake, which looks pretty spectacular. I can imagine it would showcase the reflection of the sky during certain times of the day, but yeah, this is pretty cool, isn't it? I can imagine this will be like grasslands around here with yaks browsing in it, and what other mountain goats or various species of animal like that. That's quite a cool, like it's cool they've got different colours in various lakes like that sort of browny yellowy colour. But yeah, they definitely need to get some more colour palettes for different lakes in these high altitude areas. Back to following this jot road again. Yeah, it sort of looks like you're sort of like salt lake kind of thing, doesn't it? Where do we go from here? What I might do is I might land what looks like a helicopter pad and I'll just top up the fuel. Where did I see that helicopter pad? don't think I saw an actual helicopter pad, but we will just pretend there's one. Maybe over here. Was it over here that I saw it? Like, it looked like a helicopter pad kind of thing. Anyway, if it isn't a helicopter pad, oh, what's going on? There it is there, that's what I thought was a helicopter pad. We will come over here and we'll load up the helicopter with a bit more petrol, fuel. And I really haven't mastered this helicopter yet. Alright, we're just going to do a quick little refuel. How do I do that in this game? We'll do a quick refuel. Perfect. So guys, we will now carry on with our little journey, shall we? Why isn't this getting off the ground, I wonder? Oh cool, actually was a helicopter pad, so that's great. And how do we get this off the ground? Let's make sure we're still on the right road here. Yep, we are indeed, which is perfect. I've put the time compression back on to 2 times just to get through this as quickly as possible, but definitely one of the longer flights we did. Once again, we're going back in through the mountains here. Be interested to see where we go up through here. It looks like, yeah, through the gorge we go. This would be, I do remember I was asleep for a good chunk of this journey, but I don't remember this, but I could imagine that would have been a very, maybe I've blanked it out from my brain, but that bit definitely looks a bit hairy. But yeah, hopefully I've given you guys, especially those who are looking for somewhere different to fly and somewhere different to explore, hopefully I've given you another option in this big wide world that we live in. So hopefully it's given you another idea, and for those who love travelling, hopefully this gives you another option for your next destination, especially for more of your intrepid travellers. Don't get me wrong, like, I mean, India is such a beautiful place and there's so much to explore and see, but I can understand it's not for everyone. But if you can get your mind beyond the initial shock and limit your time in Delhi, which is the main gateway to Leh, once you get up here you'll be able to just breathe and relax and process it all and enjoy Leh. As you can see, we're sort of getting into the more of the green, getting a bit more green in our bit. Yeah, once you get past Delhi and into Leh, you'll really enjoy it up here and the peace and quiet of the Himalayas. And you'll be in for an amazing experience up here. And then once you've adapted and whatnot, taking this road back to Delhi and seeing this and the gradual return to, I guess, civilization. Once you get like acclimatized to India itself, once you accept it for what it is, you will really enjoy it in India. There's so much to explore and see. Like, there is definitely many aspects to India that can be quite a challenge for many tourists, many visitors. But if you can get through that, you'll really enjoy it. You'll enjoy India. India is a really beautiful country, lots to see and do up here. Another switchback road that comes down to this little mountain river here. And I must just check just to make sure we're still going on the right path. Which we are, which is perfect. Basically it's just following this road to Keelang, and then from Keelang we want to take a right and then over this another little pass into this area. I think this area is still part of Himachal Pradesh, but that's definitely Himachal Pradesh, which is really lovely. Popular with Indian tourists escaping the harsh summers. It's very cool up there. It's not as extreme as Ladakh, but it's got a real cool vibe to it. It's almost got like a Manali, that Himachal Pradesh. It's got a very like chilled, almost hippie-ish sort of vibe up there. It's a really cool place to go see. sort of call it the mountain stations, the hill stations, lush green forests, and we'll just follow this road all the way down, see where it sort of drops, where it cuts across. But yeah, it's got that sort of hippie, very alternative sort of vibe up there. It's really down there, I should say, because we're up here, but it's got a very cool vibe. It's a really cool part of the world, part of India. Right, I'm just going to do a hard turn. Not being too pedantic, but just following this road just to see where it cuts across there. But you can imagine there'd be lots of there's possibly snow leopards in these mountains here, and different types of deer and that sort of group of animals with the mountain goats and the deer, those, I think tar, I think that's the sort of species I'm looking for. There'd be lots of tar up there, which is a type of mountain goat. Yak, there's probably naturally wild yak up there. And all of these little places will be lots of little accommodation places if you're able to get, you know, a self-guided tour. There'll be lots of little places where you can stop and have chai, and another popular thing up here is staying in yurts kind of thing, little tents, so there's that option as well. I could imagine if you were living in India, if you're an Indian and you had access to cars and whatnot, I can imagine India would be such an awesome place. I mean, for Kiwis, every Kiwi's dream when they leave schools to go for a massive road trip, and I can imagine India would be such an awesome place to if you have that privilege and access of having a car and whatnot. This would be such an incredible place to do a big road trip. You got so many options where you can go, and another thing that Kiwis don't really have a concept of, and that's countries bordering you. Our border is just the ocean, whereas here, you could just jump over the border to another country. You could drive anywhere in the world if you wanted to. Definitely would be a cool place to do a road trip. You can do so much exploring within your own country. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever go back to a Flight Simulator 2020 after seeing this scenery, I haven't done this in 2020, but that brief thing that I did with you guys, going to Padoom, yeah, this is just the difference between 2020 and this, it's basically night and day almost. But I'll still go back to 2020 to just finish up a few flights, a few airports that I've downloaded over the years that I haven't been to yet, so I should really try and get my money's worth out of those airports and explore those places, and also all of the freeware stuff that I have downloaded over the years that I've hoarded. One of those classic flightsim.to, I'll just go through TO and just go right click, and have hundreds of tabs of airports I just want to download and have no thought about flying to them, so I need to fly to all of those. And this time I'll invite you guys on a journey when I'm going through those libraries and trying to clear them all, and hopefully by that stage this will get a bit more refined, a bit more stable, and hopefully most, if not all, of the stuff that I have on 2020 is transferable, compatible with the new this 2024, and yeah, jump 100% into that and say goodbye to 2020, which has been a big part of the last 5 years, and it's so incredible to think that we went from FSX to this. This is just absolutely incredible. I mean, FSX to 2020, and 2020 is basically on the same level as this, but this is just a bit more refined, a bit more sharper. This is just incredible. And then hopefully through that, then I can get used to these different quirks that this has. But yeah, we're definitely making ground. Still feels like here in the Himalayas itself, it probably feels a bit more, mind you, when you're a little car on the road like that, anything above your car still feels massive. But yeah, I definitely feel like India is definitely a worthy contender for a next world update, a real proper world update that has lots of points of interest, lots of handcrafted, you know, like handcrafted temples or Buddha temples, you know, up in the Himalayas there, stompas, whatever you call them, temples. Sixth time I said that now. Areas of rainforest with tigers in them, that would be really cool. Then I hope they do not forget, we'll have to go there to the Gir forest, which has the last remaining population of Asian lions, Asiatic lions. Everyone thinks of lions as that must be a little helipad there, kings of like the Sahara Desert, the savannah of Africa, but and many folk do not know that there is a population of lions here in India, part of the great ranging Asian European lion that spread from all of Europe all the way through to Asia. And it's one of the most widespread lion groups. It's now restricted to a forest national park in India, so we'll go visit that, but it'll be cool if they could put especially if they put animals into this game, go see the lions at the Gir forest. This is really spectacular, isn't it? Another cool part of the journey. Definitely makes me want to hire a car and go explore. That's good, it just snakes down here, through here, but yeah, all of these valleys, man, all of these valleys, there's so much to explore. For those who are looking for something else to do in Flight Simulator, I hope I'm giving you another option to explore. And likewise with people who are maybe using this for a bit of a insight on what this part of India looks like, hopefully I've given you an option to consider if you want to come visit India. And like I said, India's not for everyone, but if you can manage to survive the shock of Delhi, and if you have money, you can easily get yourself a pre-arranged taxi to I know, to a hotel somewhere near the airport. But definitely immerse yourself into the culture. But definitely, if you can survive Delhi for just a day, depending on what time your flight is at, because flights to Leh are predominantly in the morning, where the weather's at its most settled. But if you can survive just one night in Delhi and get yourself up here, you would not be disappointed getting up here to Ladakh. And I recommend, like, once again, not for everyone, and you have to know what your limits of your body is, but if you don't feel like if you feel like you can handle the altitude, then definitely take the flight up into Leh, so you can like weave in and out of the mountains and feel like you're touching the mountains. Really good way to do it. And then take the as you've acclimatized to, not only like, I mean just in general acclimatized to India. It's not India up there, but it's, I mean you are in India. And then you can take this road all the way back down to Delhi and maybe stop off at a few of the less populated settlements in there, and sort of use that as a way to sort of acclimatise yourself to the culture. There's another little helicopter pad there by the looks of it. But yeah, we're getting along quite nicely, which is perfect. But yeah, no, if you do like a adventure and you like the mountains and you want to try, if you've got a few weeks to spare or a month, highly recommend getting yourself up to Ladakh, even if it's just Ladakh. But even if it's using Ladakh as acclimatizing yourself to the Indian culture and the way of life, yeah, nah, definitely do it. Definitely highly recommend doing it. And yeah, if you can, I really do recommend flying up into Leh, exploring it all up through that region, and then getting a bus or a private taxi or whatever you decide to go for, and then just make your own way down into this part of India. And we are going to take this turn, I do believe, to get to Manali now. We'll come around here. This is a really cool part to explore, so we'll come around here and we'll just follow this road a bit more. And this is still the Himalayan region, but when you get further south like this, that you can really feel that change in climate when you make your way further down. This is a bit more like the videos you see of the many hiking videos that you would see. That would be a nice little valley to explore up into there. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do like a separate video and just like find a helicopter pad and explore some of these valleys. But once you get over this mountain range, as I was saying, it becomes more like forested, a bit more tropical, you could say, a bit more life friendly for many different species of animals. But that's just over this mountain here. You get your sort of famous rhododendron forests that are famous for this part of the world. Right. So we come over here, then we'll jump over to Manali, and then the airport should be in there somewhere. Yeah, what a dream this simulator is, eh? Like, just look how amazing this detail is. Like, seriously folks, if you happen to come across this on YouTube, this video, and you're like, whoa, how do you get this like You don't have to buy the most expensive package of Flight Simulator, just get the cheapest package if you're not a Flight Simulator person yourself. You don't need to be. Get Microsoft Flight Simulator, get yourself a cheap joystick, put all of the assists, all of the everything onto easy and just explore the world, man, from the comfort of your own home. This is definitely giving you... This could definitely tap into a market of those who love to travel but just don't have any ability to do it. This is a great way to do it. You're basically doing the real life tour, but without leaving the comforts of home, and with a beer or whatever your little poison is. Bring your partner along with you and come for a little journey through wherever you want to see around the world. And this is definitely a place you need to visit on your virtual Flight Simulator journey. And who knows, you might enjoy Flight Simulator so much that you actually do have an interest in aviation that you never knew about, and then you'll be able to do all of your... be able to get into the interesting and wonderful world of IFR flying and all of that sort of jazz, and using your instruments and whatnot. But we won't get too ahead of ourselves, because right now, if you are one of those who have never flown before, have no interest, this is probably as far as you'll get. But you'll really enjoy it. Like, just get yourself there. And this is a really cool road that everyone must do. This is, look at that, look how it sneaks up the mountain like that. Is that the journey I need to... Yeah, it is. I'm just going to slow down the simulator and we will go up this little mountain pass. But yeah, you will not be disappointed if you just, even if you just learn the very basics. You can explore so much, and it's a lot better than fiddling around with Google Maps, that's for sure. You probably do need it. I mean, you do not need to spend thousands on a laptop, but if you just want the basics, just get a basic joystick, basic cheap joystick, because it does make the world a difference. Cheap joystick, get a decentish laptop that you can afford with your money, and yeah. But this is what you get. This is what I'm flying with my laptop. It is a decentish gaming laptop. It's definitely nothing spectacular or special. It's just a gaming laptop, but this is what you get. This is what you get with a laptop. And we'll focus on what we're doing, because I do not want to hit those jaggedy rocks there. And this will be interesting. We will now be coming down the other side of this valley here, and it'll be interesting to see if the scenery, the landscape changes. Still looks quite, from this distance, looks quite, what's the word I'm looking for, very lunar still, but you can see there's a lot more tree life now, a lot more plant life, which is which is shown in real life. That road, you can see the satellite imagery is not the best, but still showing through here. You can see how it sort of zigzags back down this, follows this cliff face here and zigzags all the way down through into here, and yeah, now you can really see it starting to, the landscape is definitely starting to green up. And I believe, folks, this is coming into tiger country, so there are definitely tigers around this area. I mean, that's definitely giving you lots of confidence coming up into here. I just sold it to you, but I do believe there are natural occurring populations of tiger around here, so if you love those sort of animals and are not afraid of them, this could be a place where you see them in real life that are outside of your like generic like tiger areas where a lot of tourists go. So yeah, if you're up in here, you might, well, hopefully not bump into a tiger, but there are tigers. So all of this here is all like, in real life, this will be all rhododendron forests. And yeah, there'll be tigers up in these areas. It's really cool, all of these helicopter pads are all coming up through this game now, so yeah, that's really cool. And as you can see on our altitude altimeter reading thing, that we are definitely getting much lower now, and this is what Manali sort of looks like, all of these sort of houses dotted in the trees and the forests. Yeah, definitely a really stunning part of the world, this. How far are we? Oh, we are actually in Manali. Awesome. So I might just go into my Navigraph and change this to oh yeah, we're coming up to Manali Airport just up here, which we will have to do in a... We'll see what it's like in this generic game. So this is Manali, this is a really stunning place, and we'll do a... I didn't stay in Manali, there's a place called Kasol that we stayed in, which is a really cool place too. Up in the mountain, can you imagine a little mountain like... So like in the Swiss Alps kind of thing, but so ridiculously cheap and affordable and great food, great vibe. It was a really cool place to be. Really cool place to be, and yeah, we will definitely have to do this, fly to this airport that's coming up here. I don't know how represented it is in this game, but they do ATR flights, so we will have to do that. As you can see, it could be a very interesting approach, but unfortunately there's no like navigation aids into this airport, because I do believe where it's situated it is a sort of like a military sort of airport in a way, although I don't think it has a military base as such. It is still very secretive on what information there is out there, so I'm guessing there would be real life RMP approaches into here, but nothing stopping us from doing a visual approach into Manali Kulu Airport, which is somewhere up here. And by the way, that river is, there are parts that are just like pure rapids. Your typical glacial fed river that I can imagine would be very much like very minimum flow during the very early spring. And in the winter, I can imagine this will be like really reduced, because this is all glacial fed. So obviously glaciers melt in the summer, and that's when you get the rapids and the fast flowing river, the water. But yeah, you can see the rings up here. We're getting close to Manali Airport. Somewhere over here it should be. But yeah, we'll end our trip with this, and we will do the next part of my journey, which is, they call it the Spiti Loop. So So there are 2 loops you can do that'll go right up to the right up into the mountains. As I showed you, there's this loop that you can do that comes right close to the Chinese territory there, and it's really spectacular all through there. And then you can do this other loop that comes right round, and both are really, really interesting, really gnarly country. But you've got that nice lush green sort of subtropical rainforests. Yeah, absolutely stunning. Must do this in real life, and you must do this in Flight Simulator 2 if you want to find somewhere else to explore in the world. Manali Airport should be coming up here soon. And yeah, this road takes you all the way back to basically all the way back down to Delhi. I think it's pretty much the equivalent for me in New Zealand. This would be like State Highway 1 from the tip of the country of India all the way down to the very south. I've no idea if this is like a state highway that runs north to south, but in New Zealand this would be our equivalent of State Highway 1. And we should be coming up to our airport just over here. As you can see, this would be an absolutely spectacular approach to do in real life. It's just a shame that they don't have any like RMP nav aids, because I can imagine this would be a very complex RMP approach, but we will just have to make do with what we basically don't have. What we do have is an airport, that's it. And we'll see how represented it is in this game. There it is. You can just sort of make out the runway just over there, I'm guessing. And this would all be rice paddy fields now. You're getting into that rice paddy field zone, so again a totally different landscape around here from the barley and wheat that's grown predominantly up in the Himalayas there, up in Ladakh. This will be all rice paddy fields now. Lots of water, lots of rainfall. As you can see, it's got that very lush green look, and in real life there's a lot of these cliff faces are like lime, so you've got those, like in Thailand, you've got those red, rich orange sort of cliff faces, and there's waterfalls running down them. In real life it's spectacular. And Manali airport should be coming up soon. So that's Manali up here. What is this? The airport is called Manali Kulu, I do believe. Yeah, so the airport's named after the actual town that it is in. It's named after both Kulu Manali. Both Manali and Kulu, they're like your Kathmandu in a way. Lots of tour operators here to sign you up on tours to go into the mountains, whatever that may be. Yeah, it's a very hustling, bustling community, both Kulu and Manali. Spent more time in Manali than Kulu, but I could imagine Kulu's very much similar to Manali. Look up there, definitely need to like just do specific flights around here and explore these valleys and whatnot. Right, we'll start getting ready to land. Like, when I mean it like that, I mean it very vaguely. Haven't mastered these helicopters, so it's basically just aim and hope. But as you can see now, we're like in the thousands of feet. We're no longer tens of thousands of feet. We're definitely getting closer and closer to sea level. So it'd be very interesting for me to see how well laid out this airport is in default. Right, we'll come into land, we'll basically just aim for the runway, and almost like a plane will just sort of, as if we're doing like a full pattern approach, we'll come into land and then we'll just sort of, without touching the runway, we'll just hover into the onto the apron, and we will definitely not good at this. I mean, the airport looks pretty good and as the basic default airport. Like I say, we'll do it within 2020 because I do have a download for that. But yeah, the default airport, I mean, that's usable. Doesn't have all of the amazing like taxiways that you would have with a payware or a community done. Where should I park this helicopter? It's very hard to get that sort of balance with this helicopter. Anyway, we sort of got there. We'll just ease it on over. Easy does it. Easy does it. Oh, okay, that will do. Right, here we are in Manali, folks. We might just go for a little wander through here since we have that option. So we'll just hop out the helicopter. Oh, what have I done? Anyway, folks, that might be my game over. I think I've frozen this. Anyway, folks, that is my helicopter ride done. Unfortunately, it ended like this, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the trip, and we'll take off from Manali on our next flight, and we'll do a little loop around the area. Unfortunately, I can't do anything more than that with this, but thanks heaps for being part of the journey, and we'll see you again shortly.